Today's sync sound is a key jingle. In 3, 2, 1.
I wasn't sure how close to hold the keys.
It sounds like you have a lot of keys.
I have a whole handful here.
All right, welcome to That Just Might Work, the podcast about everyday items. Jesse, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I had a lot of coffee, so I'm hyped up, ready to go.
Oh, good. I like when you're caffeinated. I do want to make a comment about the sync sound, other than the fact that you have a whole handful of keys.
Got a whole handful over here.
That's a weird way to refer to a keychain, but it's kind of a fitting sync sound for today's topic, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it does. A little sneak preview.
Yeah. Before we jump into that, and I know that you already know because it's the title of the episode, a couple of quick announcements. First of which is this is episode 7. I realized after the fact in episode 6 that I referred to it as episode 5, I think about 10 times.
Yeah, something like that.
So I've got that straightened out. Second announcement is we have to give a little shout out and credit to my fiance Stephanie. If you recall last episode, she invented an HVAC system for hitting vacuuming at the root of the problem, which is particles in the air, and she wanted a continually ventilated room system. And we made fun of it because we said it would be kind of drafty.
Right.
But Jesse, you pointed out that's actually a thing.
Yeah, on my drive home, I was listening to the episode, and it just kind of came to me that what she invented is like a clean room. That's what it's called, and they use them in the manufacturing of like silicon wafers and computer chips because you really can't have any dust in the environment when you're doing that.
Right. But worth noting that you have to wear like a hazmat suit in the
Which, I mean, to be fair, would kind of solve some of the problem, you know?
Yeah, well, if we were wearing hazmat suits, you wouldn't even need the ventilation. You would just take the suit off at the end of the day, right?
So that's the thing is, before you enter your apartment, you get in a full clean suit. You get in your dry Michelin Man suit, and you enter the house.
Yes, we're gonna have to cut that into episode 6.
Yep.
One more sort of correction to make. We did, of course, crowdsource some information on vacuums from vacuum cleaner enthusiasts on Reddit. One user, Memory Access Register, wrote, "In your podcast, you state that cyclonic separation is new and was invented by Dyson. That is not an accurate statement.
Oh.
Filter Queen pioneered cyclonic separation in the late 1920s.
Sorry, is Filter Queen a real name?"
Yeah, it's a vacuum. As far as I know, it's still a vacuum company.
Oh, it's okay. It sounds like an AIM screen name. Filter Queen.
Yeah. I kind of want that to be my my Xbox gamer tag.
Just like you've been killed by Filter Queen.
XX_Filter Queen XX. They invented it in the late 20s, 30s. Then James Dyson took the technology and was more successful at marketing it.
Okay, he popularized it.
Correct. So with that bit of feedback, a good segue to remind you that we have an email address, feedback@thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. If you want to send us your ideas, your feedback, your criticisms, we welcome it all. I will reiterate, however, that we don't encourage fact-checking at all.
Right. It's only going to go poorly if you do.
You're going to be very busy if you try to do that. So with that, very exciting, we have another guest on today's episode. A good friend of Jesse's, I understand a whiskey aficionado, owner of a puppy, and I understand everyone, or no one rather, says her name right. Welcome to the show, Hannah Fuller.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping you would say it wrong there.
Oh,
Is
it's
it
just
Hannah?
hilarious because Jesse said it wrong before we did the recording.
I know, we've been friends for maybe 2.5 years.
Yep.
You
Just
started
never
to get
messed
it
it
right.
up. So interesting that you would include that in my description. And also, I would like to include avid #1 fan of That Just Might Work podcast. I have listened to every episode so far.
Thank you so much. All 6 of them.
Yes. It has been such an undertaking, but I'm here for the long haul.
And I know
It's like 5 hours.
You had told me you were looking for some merchandise, right?
Oh my God. Well, we need a shirt that says it's 1865 in this bitch. I'm gonna need like a Vulgar People Unite shirt with like some hobos fighting over an umbrella. Like, I'm just awash with ideas here. So when the time comes, I want to be in on that too.
I really want to do the Tyler Womack fan club shirt, but I think, Jason, you said we might get like a cease and desist letter at that point.
But only if he finds out we exist.
I'm trying to strike a balance with Tyler Womack between continuing to talk about him and also not encouraging a lawsuit.
Also not going to jail.
Right. So, the Tyler Womack update, still haven't heard from him. It's at TJMW on Twitter. He stole our Twitter handle.
Yo, I'm following him.
Some years ago.
I'm following him, and his bio is just, of course I am. I do whatever that Just Might Work podcast tells me to do.
We have a lot of power, Jason.
I didn't realize. All right, let's get into today's topic. It is the windshield wiper,
and we're not reacting to that anymore.
No, we called it off after Jesse's horrible reaction to the vacuum cleaner.
I almost had a stroke last time.
just really made all the listeners uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We'd like to start with the definition, a couple of technical terms. One thing of note to me is that the Wikipedia entry for the windshield wiper is actually the windscreen wiper.
I came across that a lot, too, in a lot of the articles I found. They call it a windscreen.
That sounds like a whole bunch of nonsense.
I know. It's not just screening you from wind. It's, it's shielding you.
It's shielding you from...
Whoever invented this, they must have lived somewhere with like no precipitation, like just wind.
Like a screen implies that there's like some holes in it, like a screen door. That
would be so
totally
ineffective.
It would just be like a bug screen on the front of your car.
So get it together, England.
Yeah, so I understand across the pond that's how they refer to it, and there's a lot of almost like condescending mentions that like. In American English, it's referred to as the windshield wiper.
In the dirty English.
So the windshield wiper is a device used to remove rain, snow, ice, and debris from a windscreen or windshield. Say fuck off with the windscreen. Almost all motor vehicles, including cars, trucks, trains, watercraft with a cabin, and some aircraft are equipped with such wipers, which are usually a legal requirement. One other technical term to touch upon is windshield washer system. Of course, we're familiar with that concept, where antifreeze windshield washer fluid is used to help the wipers remove snow or ice. For winter conditions, some vehicles have additional heaters aimed at the windows or embedded heating wire in the glass. These defroster systems help to keep snow and ice from building up on the windshield. In rare cases, miniature wipers are installed on the headlights.
I don't know does that seem useful to anyone?
I can tell you of anybody I've seen with that, I'm judging a little bit.
At that point, it's like I should just have a wiper on every like panel of my car.
Right? Why do we have them for like the side windows of the vehicle,
or even the side view mirrors?
Yeah.
And like snow and stuff all the time.
I feel like we might be touching upon one of our ideas.
Oh my gosh, really? Okay. All right. Everyone calm down.
So let's jump into the history. I want to try to, and I'm just going to apologize from the forefront, because I feel like the history of the windshield wiper is not that interesting.
What?
Believe it or not.
Are you serious?
That may come as a surprise to you. But yeah, the first designs for the windshield wiper, and I like to make Jesse try to guess at this, and I feel like it's a little obvious. What time do you think they were first invented?
I do think like I'm lucky this time. I roughly know when cars started becoming popular. So
before Jesus.
Yeah, he must have wiped his tablets off with something. I would say
that's another T-shirt, pre-Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Pre or post Jesus.
Yeah. You can go with either.
It sounds like art styles, like the post Jesus style. I would say probably early 1900s, maybe 1910.
I'll give you some credit. You're approximately 7 years off on that.
That's not bad. I think that may be my.
Wow,
is that
that's
my best?
pretty close, Jess.
Yeah,
that's my best.
I think that's your best to date. The first designs for
Round
the
of
windshield wiper
applause.
credited to, settle down now, Polish concert pianist Józef Hoffman.
What?
How exactly does that happen?
And that's kind of the most interesting thing that happens in the history.
Can we save that soundbite of Hana going, "What was he wiping?"
And then we could put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Also, inventor William Mills of Birmingham, England, credited to have been the first to patent windscreen wipers in England. Fun fact about Mills, he's credited for having invented a handful of other very random things. Ready for this? He invented the windshield wiper. He invented the hand grenade.
Okay, just kidding. Don't hit us with that.
Those don't seem related.
He's got a breadth of creativity, and he got real mad one day.
Yeah, what happened in William Mills' life that he was like, oh, we need to deal with the rain while driving, and then we need to kill as many people as possible.
I don't know.
While I'm driving through the streets with my hand grenade, I need to see clearly in front of me.
His next invention, I may have this in the wrong chronological order because I assume that he was much more mellow when he invented the golf club.
Oh yeah, like a retirement invention.
Oh yeah, or maybe it was after the war.
That's what happened, right? He invented the windscreen, then he went to war, right? So he had to make the grenade.
Yep.
Then he got to retire, made the golf club.
And then he just needed some damn relaxation.
That's right. And with that, he invented the telescopic walking stick seat.
What is that?
Sure.
So it's kind of like a cane that has a seat that folds out of it. They still exist today, though his was telescopic. And fun fact, it can still be purchased, the original, on there's more than one, on eBay, approximately $112.
Oh, let's start a bidding war.
Done. Yes.
Everyone listening, go and bid on that.
It actually is. It's actually hilarious looking. It looks a little bit like some sort of large machine gun, kind of. I don't think that you could walk around with it.
Honestly, with this guy, it wouldn't surprise me if it was like also a weapon.
I wish by telescopic it meant that you could like also pick it up and look at the stars if you really felt like it.
That'd be cool.
If we did an episode on the telescopic walking stick seat, that might be something we'd come up with.
I'm going to TM that trademark.
Moving ahead, at least 3 inventors patented windscreen cleaning devices around the same time in the year 1903, as I mentioned. You got Mary Anderson, Robert Douglas, and John Apjohn. Mary Anderson, American inventor, I should say more like American inventor, popularly credited with devising the first operational windscreen wiper in 1903. It was operated via a lever from inside the vehicle.
So you got to do it yourself.
It's got to work for
Correct.
it.
Right.
You got to really want it.
Yeah. You want a clean windshield, you're gonna have to work out a little bit. Her version of windshield wipers closely resembled the windshield wiper found in many early model cars. Then we jump ahead to 1917. The Tricontinental Corporation was founded by John R. Oishi. And remember that name because he had a lot to do with windshield wiper development through the decades. He's going to come back to us in a minute.
All right, Oishi.
Yeah, definitely remember that name for the rest of forever. Every trivia team listening to this.
Yeah, for real. If any trivia question comes up about windshield wipers, Oishi would be a safe guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the sound that windshield wipers make, you know?
Oh,
Oishi,
my.
Oishi, Oishi.
I no longer want to be affiliated.
I was going to say that was a little moister than I think it normally goes.
I'm just trying to come up with like a pneumatic device to help you remember Oishi.
Okay.
Oishi.
It's definitely stuck in my brain now.
Yeah. This company was they introduced their first windshield wiper known as the rain rubber. And I just want to linger on that name for a second.
I feel
that seems a little bit a good name for your Michelin Man suit.
Yes.
The rain rubber.
Just a full body rain condom.
There's your subtitle. That's perfect.
I don't know why that didn't come to me. Didn't I have a name for the rain umbrella, or did I not?
I think we called it like the full family Michelin Man suit.
Oh my god.
The Michelin, the suite, the family suite.
The family suite.
Stuff your whole family in one big rubber condom.
Yeah, Jesse's the slogan guy. That was invented, the rain rubber for the slotted two-piece windshields found in many automobiles of the time. Today, the Tricontinental Corporation, abbreviated as Trico Products, actually one of the world's leading manufacturers of windshield wiping systems.
Ooh, still in the game. Nice.
Yeah, Oishi. You know what?
It just sounds like you're excited.
I'm sorry, was that a windshield wiper I heard?
Actually, Oishi died in 1968. So
not still in the game. Little out of the game.
Yeah, little out of the game. A little fun fact. Bosch, the manufacturer of all those hand drills and such, world's biggest windscreen wiper factory in Belgium, produces 350,000 wiper blades every day.
Wow.
That seems like a lot.
It does, but then you think about well, you think about how many people there are on Earth and how many cars there are, and every car, most cars have two or more.
You would hope. Would hope.
Right.
I mean, technically they have three because there's a back windshield.
And if you got them on your headlights, I can see how they need that many.
Before you know it, you've got five. Inventor William Fulberth and his brother Fred, presumably Fred Fulberth, applied for a patent for an automatic windscreen wiper apparatus in 1919 that utilized vacuum power. I thought it was funny. This is like the fourth episode in a row that we're talking about vacuums.
Yeah, should we just change like the episode or the podcast title?
That just might vacuum.
There you go.
I mean, the logo looks like a vacuum with a blender on it, so
yeah, it's kind of a combo.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is that what the logo is? Is it a vacuum blender? I always thought it was just a blender on wheels.
Well, it was a blender on wheels, but I've had, including myself, sometimes I see it as a vacuum. So I think a combination works.
All right, so it's going to be an easy transition for us into vacuum
what I'm
podcasting.
saying.
And Trico, remember Oishi, he later settled a patent dispute with Fulberth and his brother, purchasing their company. Then they used this new vacuum-powered system, and it kind of became the standard equipment on automobiles all the way until about 1960. And then we're going to jump ahead to intermittent wipers. I got to give a couple of patent shout-outs. 1923, the first electromechanical design by Raymond Anderson. 1958, the first thermal and hydraulic design patent by John Oishi, our main man there. And then 1961, the first solid-state electronic design by John Amos, not to be confused with John Stamos.
Who had presumably nothing to do with the windshield wiper.
But a whole lot to do with, like, Greek yogurt.
Yeah. Right. Though I don't know if Greek yogurt was a thing in 1961. But I don't even know if John Stamos was alive in 1961. He may have been, right?
We'll have to someone can fact check that.
You're really tapping into how bad Jesse and I both are at guessing people's ages. So for all we know, he could be like 12 or he could be like 90, and it would 75. All look about the same.
Let's do it for fun. How old do you think John Stamos is?
I'm gonna say 58.
I think a little younger. I'll say 53.
John Stamos is 54 years old. So
wow, Jesse.
You're getting better at this whole guessing thing, Jesse.
He plays Uncle Jesse, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Yeah,
John Stamos, please don't hate me. I'm sorry, I thought you were old.
You just look it.
So I really, I'll admit, I wanted to be done with windshield wiper history at this point, but I feel there's one more thing I have to mention. 1963, another form of intermittent wiper was invented by Robert Kearns, engineering professor at Wayne State University. His design intended to mimic the function of the human eye, which blinks only once every few seconds. He tried to sell his concept to the Ford Motor Company, but they rejected it, later offering a similar design as an option on the company's Mercury line of vehicles. Yeah, you can see where this is going.
Can't do that.
1969, Cairns sued Ford in a multi-year patent dispute that he eventually won in court, inspiring the 2009 film Flash of Genius.
There's a movie.
Why was this not required viewing? for this
Yeah, we all should
episode.
have watched it.
I honestly, I would have, except I found it at like 6 or 7 o'clock last night. I was gonna text you guys to cancel your Friday plans. You're watching a movie from 2000.
Just hop on Netflix, search for Windshield Wipers.
As one does on a Friday evening.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a documentary or if it's like
No, I
a
want it to
drama.
be like a Lifetime dramatized.
Yeah, we're gonna
version
look it
of
up, and like
Windshield
that
Wipers.
probably actually won the Oscar for Best Picture in 2009.
It's like Tom Hanks played Robert Kearns.
Oh my god.
Who played Oishi?
I don't know. The last piece of technology I want to give a little shout out to is rain sensitive intermittent windscreen wipers, like rain sensing technology. Didn't work on the same premise as today's rain sensing technology, but it first surfaced in 1970, and we really haven't seen a lot of innovation since then. So I do think, while the history was quite boring, I do think that windshield wipers are another thing that are due for some innovation.
Right. It's been a good couple of years since we've had something nice.
Right. So with that, I thought that we would take a quick break and play a game, only because the history was kind of long before we get into the nitty gritty of.
You're worried
the
Hannah
episode.
and I have fell asleep.
Yeah, I
Is
just
this the part I
and the
normally skip
listeners.
through? No.
It's like, everyone, please wake up now.
it's tough having a podcast because you get feedback, and some people are like, oh, I love the history, I love learning about windshield wipers, and other people are like, oh, I just skipped to where you talk about people dying.
Yes.
It's got something for everyone. That's what matters.
Yeah, you can't please everyone. So we're going to play a game that we played last episode. I think we called it Name That Everyday Item or something to that nature.
Rolls right off the tongue.
We gave it a name. What's that sound?
Wow.
That-
There was some innovation there. This is boding really well
Yeah.
for the end of this episode.
Yeah. The creativity is
Thank
just
you.
flourishing.
So what I've done again is I've recorded the audio of an everyday item within my house. 3 clips of it ranging in difficulty from most difficult to least difficult. I'm going to play each clip. You're going to get an opportunity to guess. It's going to be Jesse versus Hannah. The first to guess correctly what the object is going to win the game.
All right.
All right. So here is the first clip. And that's clip number 1.
Wow.
I feel like that was barely like a sound. I don't know what that was.
I feel like I might as well have not heard anything.
Yeah, I Jesse, honestly, I thought that you were going to say a gun again.
When I picture your house, there's just guns mounted everywhere.
Any corner I turn, I could just load a revolver.
You live in the North Country, so I kind of expect that.
I said last episode, I don't own any guns. Do you want to hear it one more time?
Yeah, let's go
Yes.
again. Is it I want to say a printer. I feel like that's going to be my first guess every episode. Printer.
Eventually
All right.
it'll be right. I don't know. I feel
A
like
printer. Hannah, do you have any thoughts?
I feel like it sounds like the top is like popping off something. I'm gonna say like a Tupperware canister type thing. You know what I mean?
Ooh, okay.
A Tupperware canister. Okay. I'm not sure that is a thing, actually.
Yeah, like with like a pop top thing that you put stuff in your
Like
fridge
one of like
with.
the cereal.
Am I living in
No,
the
okay.
Twilight Zone?
All right. No, it's neither a Tupperware canister nor a printer. Here's clip number 2. Also kind of sounds like a gun.
Wow.
That was clip number 2.
So a Colt 45.
No.
I think that sounded like a blender, or like a blender, not a NutriBullet, but like a blender you actually have
haven't-
to push the buttons on.
I don't feel like I've strayed from printer on it, but you said it wasn't.
No, definitely not a printer.
Is it like the ice dispenser on your fridge?
Ooh, that's a good guess.
That is a good guess. It's not either of those. What part of a blender do you think that was? I'm just curious.
Like, well, you press the buttons down, and then
I
it
could hear
starts
the
whirring.
buttons.
All right, let's hear it one more time.
Yeah, and then it
this is-
starts whirring.
If that was a blender, you were really mashing the buttons.
And this is clip number 3.
Oh,
Oh, I think I got it. Is it a dishwasher?
Okay. That is a dishwasher.
Oh.
Yes!
I feel like I'm never gonna win this one either.
Oh my gosh.
Jesse, did you know what it was? You hesitated for a moment, or
when I heard the water sound, I was picturing a washing machine, and I was gonna go washing machine.
Too.
I was hoping that would happen. But yeah, clip number 2 was the turning of the dial.
Okay.
Okay.
And clip number 1 was loading the detergent pod into the thing and shutting the door.
Oh, there was like a pop-top situation.
Yeah, you did acknowledge a pop-top. So.
But then I invented a Tupperware product, so I'll see you on the Tupperware episode, guys.
Yeah.
Don't waste all your creative juices on that.
Yeah, so Hannah's going to be the winner of the game. I guess we'll say it's 2-0 guests versus Jesse. And what's that sound?
Yes,
is there like a mercy rule in this? Like, I just feel like I'm going to be down like 10-0 soon.
We would have to get to at least 5, I think, for a mercy rule to come to play.
Okay.
And no, there won't be a mercy rule. I'll be thrilled
it would
if it's
get up to 5,
5-0.
but we're never going to do that for you.
Yes. All right. So let's jump back into the windshield wiper. This is the part of the show where we talk about why it sucks. Why don't we go to Hannah first? Jesse mentioned before we had you on the show that you were kind of a hateful person. So
thank you, Jesse.
I don't know if that were his exact words.
Yeah, I think he misworded that. We're gonna like end the show, and Hannah's gonna call me and be real mad.
Yeah. No. So with that, why don't you tell us what you hate about windshield wipers?
Okay.
And maybe what you hate about Jesse while you're at it.
Wow, that's a much longer list. I'm going to need a whole other podcast for that.
Okay. We'll take that offline.
I will preface the things I hate with the fact that I was born and raised in Syracuse, New York. So the overwhelming majority of these have to do with ice and snow on the windshield. So first of all, like there's a pretty big cost gap between good windshield wipers and like the kind I can afford while I live my ramen noodle thug life over here. So
yeah, I have noticed that like if you really want to get the top shelf ones, it's like a lot of money.
Yeah, and
yes,
like I just don't have that. So I've got like the crappy ones, which only work about half the time at really actually getting anything off of your windshield. Another thing is they aren't like strong enough to push off very much snow at all. And here in Syracuse, we get like feet at a time. And I just really don't want to have to actually scrape off my windshield. Lazy. And that's how I choose to live my life.
I'll chime in there. It does seem like the ice scraper and the ice broom and such, they're just kind of like Band-Aids for the fact that the windshield wipers suck.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
You know, like why should we have to use them at all?
Right.
Why
These
should
are
I
supposed
have
to be clearing my windshield.
Myself?
These are supposed to be clearing the windshield. So why am I clearing my windshield?
Yes.
And when it's snowing, you like put your windshield wipers up. It's like you have to baby these things because they're terrible at their job.
So that was another one of my things is that if you don't want them to freeze to the windshield when it gets cold, you have to flip them up like in anticipation of snow the next day and then remember to like flip them down in the morning. And half the time ice freezes to the windshield wiper itself. So then it just drags wet ice back and forth across your windshield while you try to get anything off of it.
That is my personal thing that I hate the most is when there is ice on the windshield wiper and it's just like it's literally just dragging a piece of ice and not doing anything to the rest of the glass.
Now,
so
not only is it like, not clearing your windshield, it's just waving in front of your vision doing nothing.
Yes.
It's just further impeding my ability to drive safely.
Yeah.
Yes. I have two more things. They don't reach to the upper corners because they only do that arch thing. And like my OCD brain is like, okay, why is my whole windshield not cleared with all of this motion happening in front of me? Like it's only in a rainbow effect, which is great. I'm all about pride, but like not on my windshield. And
We're going to sell a pride shirt that says not on my windshield.
And they're boring. Everybody's look exactly the same. There's like no individualism in having your windshield wipers, and I really think that they.
Do you want like colored, like different colors?
Yeah, I want to make a statement. if I'm whipping those things back and forth on the throughway, I want people to know that it's me.
Just driving down the throughway, whipping those things back and forth.
Yes.
All right. Jesse, did Hannah touch on anything that you didn't? Did she not touch upon anything that's on your list, I should say?
I have maybe one or two I'll add. I find a lot of the times you can't get like the perfect speed to like. Sometimes they're either too slow and it's not clearing it fast enough, or it's like over the top fast and it's like just intense in your vision. So I kind of want, better speed control.
You know what? I did kind of have something like that I skipped, that you have to manually decide the wiper speed being precipitation appropriate, because I feel like sometimes if my windshield wipers are going too fast and everyone else's are going slowly, that they're all judging me like, wow, look at that pansy, needs double time windshield wipers and this slight
I was literally just going to say, does anyone else feel like self-conscious that their windshield wipers are going too fast?
I'm so glad it's not just me having an existential crisis in my car about the speed of my windshield wipers.
Yeah, because my car has 3 settings, and it's either like so slow it doesn't work in a light drizzle, and then it jumps from that to like a little bit too fast for an average rainfall, and then it jumps to like, what's the matter with you that you need that fast speed? Right.
Yep. And then I think the only other thing I really want to say is that I had mine break a lot in a couple different ways. Sometimes if they do get kind of stuck in the snow, I remote start my car a lot. And this is kind of my fault, but if you leave them on when you turn your car off, then they try and move, and when they're frozen to the windshield, and I've actually broken my windshield wipers that way more than once. Believe it or not. So I'm glad that Bosch is making like $350,000 a day.
Yes, they're all for you.
Yeah, I go through 2 a day. And also I feel like if the rubber gets like scratched, typically from something like ice or whatever, it always seems like it's scratched and like ruined in your vision. So it's like the part that, goes across and isn't cleaning anything just happens to be in your line of sight, and I hate that.
Yeah, I'll you did hit upon pretty much all of my points between the two of you. I also added, the rubber degrades, and I feel like they need frequent replacing. But I don't. I haven't replaced my windshield wipers since I bought my car like 2 years ago. So they really don't make my vision better in the rain. They just make it a little bit worse, I feel like.
Perfect.
Great.
I don't know how I passed inspection with those, but
that's a good point.
It's a complaint that I have. I feel like it's ridiculous. I have to go replace my windshield wipers.
Yeah, that's right.
So with that, Jesse, what did you find in terms of modern innovations for the windshield wiper?
Yeah, there's a few cool things. I think one of the ones you touched on is the rain sense technology. So a lot of newer, higher end cars typically will have that, where if the windshield detects rain, they'll actually turn on. And some of the nicer ones even do have sort of speed control, where it'll gauge how fast it's raining and adjust it for you.
Dang it! There goes one of mine.
That always happens to us. Feel free to just steal it and keep it in your.
It's very clear that I don't have one of those nicer cars now. I'm like, wow, great.
I do think sometimes the solution to a lot of our problems is try to be less poor.
Yeah.
And it's like you could afford the nicer model and the nicer blades.
Also, can't wait for that shirt to come out on the merch store.
Try to be less poor. TJMW. I like that. One of the big ones that you see every once in a while online is McLaren, that car company, is trying to use ultrasonic waves to deflect rain as it hits the windshield.
What?
So this is using like
like a hand dryer?
Not quite. What's really happening essentially is the windshield is actually vibrating. It's sort of imperceptible. It's imperceptible, but it's vibrating at a rate that actually kind of moves water off of it.
Oh wow!
I saw articles about that from 2013, and I haven't seen anything about it being implemented. So I have a feeling they haven't quite figured it out yet.
I'm happy that they've done that, because I feel like, as a precursor to me trying to explain my technology, it makes me feel better. Like something that absurd is actually possible. Right.
It's nice that it's not just us going a little crazy.
Right.
So then another one I found, there's a couple hydrophobic coatings So like something that's applied to the windshield, and the water just sort of bounces right off of it. And I think that works nicely, but it's really only for rain. I don't think it's going to work well for snow. And if you've got like salt and mud and stuff like that, it's just not going to do a good job.
Right.
Let's see. In 2014, a patent was filed. Another patent shout out for the Airjet windshield wipers. And these use very high speed airflow to basically push Wayne.
Why are you pushing Wayne around?
I'm sorry, Wayne. To push rain away from the windshield, sometimes before it even hits the windshield, which I think is cool.
It's like you hit the wrong key on a keyboard, except with your voice.
Yeah, exactly. My brain had a typo. Yeah. And I mean, I think that one's pretty cool. But I don't know if it works as well in heavier rain. And again, I'm not sure with like bigger particulates.
Okay.
Quickly, 2 Kickstarters, both terrible.
Awesome.
Heated windshield wipers, which is a thing. This Kickstarter, I don't know what they were thinking. They made a video, as you were supposed to for a Kickstarter, and the background music is too loud. You can't hear what they're saying the whole time. So I watched the video.
That might have been on purpose.
I watched. I think it kind of was. I watched the video.
But
and
what
I was
did you think about? What did you think about the music? Was it?
No, it was too loud.
Through a sandstorm.
Yeah, it was just really intense, and I don't know. I didn't know what happened, but I backed them. No, they've got just like these hilarious quotes. The English isn't super great, and one of them it says, "We tested it. It works."
Yeah, okay.
No.
And I was like, I don't trust that. Like, it just doesn't really seem right.
It's like saying one out of me concurs that this is a good invention.
Yeah. Another thing.
One out of no other people agrees with me.
You'll like this. Because our wipers work independently with a long-lasting rechargeable 9-volt battery, which lasts up to 7 days fully on charge. So you're gonna have to recharge your windshield wipers every 7 days.
I hate that for a couple of reasons. I don't like the idea of recharging. I also hate 9-volt batteries.
Yeah. So they only raised $600. They failed.
Okay.
And the last one is just it's an attachment to your current windshield wipers, and it's supposed to help scrape the frost off. But it's also really bad. He actually, I was happy he included a video of like, here's how it works. Unfortunately, in the video, it didn't appear to be working.
So I will be honest. I toyed with the idea of that for my ideas of having some kind of metal scrape thing to get ice off, and my boyfriend Josh was like, can you imagine the sound of that in your car if there wasn't any ice though? Every time it went by, it just scraped like nails on a chalkboard.
That sounds terrible.
That's a good point.
So I think that's pretty much it. Plenty of room for our ideas.
Okay.
You know what? I'm happy that unlike the Umbrella episode where there were a lot of, I feel, pretty good and out there ideas, we don't have a lot of competition this time, and that's probably why maybe you guys had a similar experience. I had a really hard time coming up with some sort of invention to improve upon the windshield wiper, as shitty as they are. We did. I'll just say this really quick. We did try to crowdsource some ideas from Reddit, posting in the Cars subreddit as well as Ask Reddit. A lot of similar findings to when we asked about vacuum solutions or refrigerators rather, where a lot of people are just kind of like, I don't know, you don't need to fix the windshield wiper. It works fine.
That's why it hasn't been fixed in 48 years, Reddit.
Right? These people are just holding us back.
Right. It's just, everyone has the wrong attitude. Some people said Rain-X. Rain-X is a pretty good solution, but it doesn't eliminate the need for windshield wipers.
Right.
And one guy said, drive fast enough that the water doesn't need to be wiped away. It's like, okay, cool guy.
Yeah, right.
So let's jump into the ideas. Do you guys want me to go first?
Sure.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. I will, because I just assume that yours won't be as good as mine.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really ready to just take control of the situation.
I'm ready. And I gave it a name. This is called the Rain Dam.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's damn.
Is it like the rain,
acronym.
comma, damn, there's rain?
Is it an exclamation?
No, it's an acronym. DAME, D-A-M-E, stands for Diamagnetism Against Mother Nature.
Oh my God. All right.
And you might see what I'm getting at here.
I don't.
I was just,
I want to be upfront about that.
I was just trying to think of how do I get water away in some method other than wiping or with air or like sound or whatever. And I remembered, and maybe you guys had a similar experience in science class back in like elementary school. I recalled a teacher holding a magnet under a stream of water and the magnet actually bending the water.
I think you're really overestimating how much attention I paid in any of my science classes.
All right, so I take it from the silence that neither of you had that experience.
I'm personally skeptical of that.
So I did a very tiny amount of research.
Okay.
And water is diamagnetic, which means it can be affected and bent by a supermagnet.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So and
Yeah, I was
that's all I'm
picturing
gonna
you
say.
holding up like a fridge magnet, and I was like, I don't think that's going to do anything. But
No. So a supermagnet is necessary. So there's two main mechanical components to the rain dam. You have the single swipe rain and ice clearing arm, and you have the secondary windscreen. The single swipe rain and let me know if I need to slow down. The single swipe rain and ice clearing arm is a single blade that sits at the top of your windshield in an aerodynamic fashion. And the secondary windscreen sits within the hood assembly of your car. Now I'm going to explain what each of these things do.
Oh my gosh.
Whether rain, ice, or snow, a single button is the press of a single button is all that's necessary to engage the rain dam. When you press the dam button, that's what it's going to be called. Damn.
It has to make that sound.
The single swipe rain and ice clearing arm slides down the surface of your windshield. It's one long blade, and in a single motion, it will remove any liquid, ice, or snow.
okay.
Okay,
right.
so it's like one swipe to clean it. At the same time it's cleaning it, simultaneously, the secondary screen retracts from the hood assembly and slides over your existing windshield to provide coverage. Okay, so now your base windshield is free of any debris,
Okay.
and you have this exterior windshield.
It's like
slid over
double
top of it.
layered.
Yeah, double layered. This screen has multiple functions. It's coated in a permanent water wicking material. It's something like Rain X.
Okay.
The base of the screen has a lip that forces an air pressure increase against the glass. So you're getting higher air pressure when you're driving than you typically would to try to, in conjunction with that water wicking material, blow water off of the windshield.
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to need
also,
a diagram. So.
I know, seriously.
I'm trying to explain it as best as I can. It has built-in heating elements to prevent frost and ice buildup, similar to your typical, your rear defroster function. And it has an auto darkening function, so it can function as like sunglasses on sunny drives.
Oh, nice.
And lastly, it employs linings of supermagnets that act to deflect water off of the screen, and in some cases, prevent it from ever making contact.
How, are you able to see through the super magnets? I'm sorry, was that not considered?
So I notice I said a lining of supermagnets. So the supermagnets may be lined in with the heating elements in some function.
Okay, yeah.
And so rain's coming down. There's air, high pressure air being blown up from the aerodynamics of your vehicle. It's hitting the air.
It's hitting Wayne.
It's hitting the rain, causing it to move. If it does happen to make contact, it's on a water wicking surface, so it's going to blow right off. But it's likely not even going to make contact between the air pressure and the repelling function of the magnetism supermagnets.
Right. You know, I like it because I would not have thought of magnets for this solution. So I think that's a nice addition.
So is this mostly
gone in the direction of magnets?
Yeah, is this mostly for the windshield itself then that you're making a lot of these innovations for? To almost make
that
the
is the
windshield
topic of the
wiper
episode.
more-
Right? No, she's right. I had this question too because it's like,
Oh, okay.
do you redefine the windshield wiper, or I think it's acceptable, and I think
Or do you make the windshield wiper obsolete?
Right. I think either is okay, and Jason went one way.
Okay, all right.
I'm saying I think the windshield wiper is a pathetic way to try to get. I mean,
Damn, shots
look at
fired at windshield wiper.
Yeah.
Take that, Oishi. Jesse is stripping the motors on his windshield wipers because how the point of contact with the motor is so tiny and it needs to generate so much force. I just think the whole concept is wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So that's my idea. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
I think it's good that I go because I actually also got rid of the windshield wipers.
Okay, then I should probably say up front, I kept the windshield wipers, and I'm also not an engineer, so the innovations are like pretty basic in comparison to diamagnetism.
I mean, Jason's also not an engineer, and he brought out the magnets, so I think you're fine.
I just have a really strong imagination. So Jesse, what do you have?
Okay. I'm getting rid of the windshield wipers, and I'm kind of getting rid of the windshield. Picture the Pope Mobile. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. But what I want to do is instead of having any sort of see-through glass or see-through plastic, we're going to use a 4K screen inside the car, and you're going to have a camera mounted to the front of the car. Okay, so now you can no longer.
What can possibly go wrong?
This is how we end up pushing Wayne around on the road.
Yeah, you're putting a lot of faith in like the visual component of this camera, but the idea being, now it's like, oh, rain and stuff or snow and debris falling on the physical part of the windshield just isn't going to matter. Of course, you still have to keep the camera and the camera lens clear. Mm-hmm. And so that's why the camera's going to be recessed a little bit into the hood of the vehicle.
So you put tiny windshield wipers on the camera.
That's exactly, yes.
I'm just moving the problem. No, I want it to be recessed enough so that basically it just can't get hit by anything.
Why didn't you? Let me just ask you something. Why didn't the idea of I love the implementation of heads-up displays and screens.
Mm-hmm, yeah, of course.
Why didn't you just add this to the function of a regular windshield for when it's raining and snowing, so that in the case that, like, I don't know, you drive by a plastic bag and it covers up your camera, you don't die?
Well, maybe there's a secondary camera. I don't know. It's got some way to maybe it switches to like infrared, okay, and in which case you can see through a plastic bag. I'm making this up on the fly, but I think that's true.
My
okay.
Okay.
And, honestly, that's the gist of the idea. We've gotten rid of the screen itself. You now also don't have the issue of having, I cracked my windshield, right? That's not a thing anymore.
Instead, you just crack your camera.
Instead, I cracked my 4K display inside my camera. But the beautiful part about this is it helps us move towards the future because it's going to have stuff like object recognition and vehicle tracking, so it can kind of help you avoid accidents and stuff like that. It's going to have a lot of the technology built into it that some of like the autonomous cars have.
Okay.
And I think this is a good segue into autonomous vehicles because really, if you're in a self-driving car, why do you need a windshield? Right, you don't even need to look out. So this is my middle.
Let death just come to you unexpectedly when it malfunctions.
Yeah, because when I envision the future of self-driving cars, I don't want to see where I am as I'm traveling.
Yeah, for me, it's really like a white van that you just kind of get like abducted into and show up wherever you are.
Right.
And that's my idea. I didn't come up with a name, but I want to call it the Oishi Be Gone. Because
Wow.
because I'm phasing them out.
You're about to get
All
haunted
right.
so hard by Oishi's ghost.
By his grandchildren.
You're going to wake up in the night and just hear, Oishi.
Oh my god, that is actually terrifying.
All right, let's go to Hana with I'm assuming, much more practical idea.
Yeah, so absolutely mine is significantly more basic than both of yours. However, I think I'm going to get some serious points on the name, which I will tell you at the end. But
I mean, I had an acronym in my name, so I should get some credit for that.
Jason, I think you really got to wait and hear what my name is. Because I have a lot of confidence behind this one. Probably mostly, though, I think Jesse will probably like it more. So most of mine are just simply like addressing the things that I hate about it. So I was thinking like heavier material and some kind of device by which there could be more torque for pushing power, so that I don't have to use my ice scraper blade thing.
Right.
Again, not an engineer, have zero fucking clue how that would happen. But we're blue sky solutioneering here.
We don't have experts on the show, so don't feel any pressure.
Except Filter Queen, and I really don't want her to come for me. So, I want like school bus style windshield wipers that go completely horizontally across the windshield, so that every inch of my windshield will get. Yes, it will be fully cleaned. I want a button in the car that could pop the windshield wipers like up and off and back on. So like if you wanted to put them up and whatever, because it was going to snow, you can just do that from the like warmth and safety of the inside of your car.
I'll say this, that's something that really should already exist, right?
Well, yeah. Also, fun fact, I'm like 5'1", so it's hard for me to reach the end of my windshield wipers to pull them up off the roof of the car. So maybe this for everyone else isn't like a huge struggle, but I need to get like a step stool to properly do this on my SUV. I did also have the idea to have them heated, but then that horrible Kickstarter came up. But I feel like we can heat the windshield and whatever. Why can't we heat the windshield wipers to melt some of that frickin' ice off it so it's not dragging it pathetically across my windshield?
I think that heated windshield wipers already exist in some vehicles.
Like they must, but I don't. I think have they do.
Them I think
because I have a poor
Kickstarter
person's car.
Right, you've got a vulgar person's car.
Yes.
I think this Kickstarter, like they were just trying to, because they're not popular. The heated windshield wipers. They were trying to make these kind of available to everyone, and it just didn't work.
Well, yeah, I'm on a battery that needs to be recharged. I mean, it would be like connected in some way to all the other self-heating aspects of your car.
Right.
Because I mean, I was even looking at Jeep, and now they do like a heated steering wheel. You're telling me they can't do that for the windshield wipers as well? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I would like to see that become more mainstream. You know, before we get to the I don't even know how to say it anymore. The rain dam.
The dam. But like the biggest and most useless, but I think awesome recommendation I have would be to implement things like colors and whatnot. So you could get different colored windshield wipers. And then I had this crazy idea of like you could put like almost decal images on them. So if you're like me and you're a really angry driver, there could just be like middle fingers on them that just wave back and forth at every car that's around you on the road, so that they know not to mess with you. And you
That's
could
just
even
really funny to picture two middle fingers going like
yes,
left and right, left and right.
And like the more it's raining, the more vigorous I'm telling you to fuck off.
Yeah.
You could like bling them out with rhinestones. There's like a whole market you could open up here to just like bedazzle the shit out of windshield wipers, which brings me, because I feel like this is something like for that younger people are going to kind of be more into, because we're all about being like unique and I can't have my car look the same as everyone else's.
Right.
Do you have a source for the Do you have a source before you get to the name? Do you have a source for the you said there's a whole market of people that want decorated windshield wipers?
No,
I'm not doubting you. I'm just not sure.
I'm just assuming that the kids who to eat Tide Pods on the internet would also want the dazzled windshield
I think that's a safe bet.
Is that a far jump?
That's fair. No, that's fair.
That's
all right, what's the name?
At. Okay, so it's lowercase s, capital W, swipe right. Windshield wipers for the new age.
Oh.
So it's like a Tinder reference, but it's also telling you to wipe correctly with better windshield wiper.
Yeah, I think that'll work with
right.
millennials.
Swipe right.
Swipe right. And it's also like, it's not only like swipe to the right, it's like swipe the right way.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
I have to give you an outstanding, 2 thumbs up on the name.
Thank you.
Very good.
I think it's only a matter of time before we're giving Hannah a patent shout out like 2 episodes from now.
I'm going to go ahead and trademark that as well for all the, Oishi grandchildren who are listening to this episode trying to improve upon Grandpa's technology.
Can we get a Twitter handle for the Oishi grandchildren?
But I texted Jesse like 5 minutes before he called me to do this. And I was like, man, I'm having a really hard time coming up with the name. And then for some reason, thinking about Jesse and his dating life, I thought swipe right.
That's accurate.
I like
so
it.
Thank you, Jesse.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right. What were you going to say, Jesse?
I was going to say I'm glad my failed dating life could be the inspiration for someone's invention.
Yeah. I'll say this: my fiance and I met on a dating app. It was Bumble, not on Tinder.
So my boyfriend and I didn't meet on Tinder, but after we met, he found me on Tinder and super liked me. And so for like 2 months, Jesse and all my friends only referred to him as super like. So I guess I can't complain about that either. It'll happen That's for funny. You someday, Jesse.
Yes.
This podcast is going to get real sad.
Yeah, I can't believe your 4K screen isn't yelling derogatory things at you.
I am, though it is very life-threatening, so I guess that's in the general direction.
Right, I want the danger.
I'm also surprised that your complaints didn't include them being too cold to touch or somehow being too heavy for you to hold on to.
Well, I mean, scraping manually is hard.
Things have.
Right, so the two solutions for me are have more money and have more than 3% muscle.
All right, let's get to the final component of the episode. That is, has someone died using it? I'm excited for this because it's not my turn to guess. After 3 episodes of guessing, it's Jesse's turn, and Hannah will be your teammate in this instance.
I got to be honest. I was thinking about this. I have no clue. I really have no clue.
So the score is what, 1-1?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's 1-1. You can earn a half a point by guessing correctly whether or not someone has died by windshield wiper, and you can earn the second half of the point by guessing how it happened. Bear in mind, lightning can't strike the windshield wiper, and the windshield wiper cannot have caused an accident. I'm going to say that. It needs to have been the windshield wiper that caused the death. And it can't be murder by windshield wiper either.
Because, of course, somebody's been murdered by a windshield wiper. Yeah. Someone's been murdered by everything.
I don't know if that's true, but I'll get to that. So why don't you go ahead and hypothesize how this may or may have not happened.
Oh, this is tough.
Okay, so originally I really couldn't think of anything. But while we were just sitting here, I was wondering if somebody had like a tie or a scarf on and it got caught on the windshield wiper while it was going back and forth, if they got strangled to death. Is that just all the true crime podcasts I've been listening to, like, poking through?
It might be good. The problem with that idea, though, is that they would go from being strangled to not strangled, like, twice per second.
What if it was on
I'm choking. Speed? Oh, I'm fine. That's true. That could be pretty dangerous.
Well, if somebody was driving by and then their scarf got caught in, like, a passing vehicle's windshield wiper, I would consider that a death.
You'd give that to us?
All right. Okay.
I was wondering if, like, if there was an accident and the accident didn't kill the person, but like the windshield wiper came through the windshield and impaled them.
Oh shit.
Yeah, probably not. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna say no. I can't think of a specific way that someone would die.
Okay. Do you? If you're correct, do you get the full point? I guess so. right?
Oh, yeah, so safe way to get a full point here.
I'm going to say you earned yourself a point.
Wow.
Congratulations. 2-1
bad.
score. However, I do have a story of a restrained driver falling asleep at the wheel, crashing his truck into a tree, wherein he was found walking near the crash site with a windshield wiper stalk impaled into his right cheek.
Oh my God, Jesse, that actually happened.
It did. It did actually happen.
That's amazing.
It had penetrated the right maxillary sinus, both ethmoid sinuses, if I'm saying that right.
Sure.
The left orbit, contusing his left optic nerve, rendering him blind in that eye. There's a picture of it too. I don't know if you want to see this, but the windshield wiper went
share on the
through,
social media
through his cheek and then out of his eyeball, basically.
Oh my God.
My.
That's actually surprising he didn't die.
However, he did not die. So,
all right.
Wow.
I wanted to touch upon using the windshield wiper as a blunt weapon. I did find an instance of that.
Yup.
A Florida woman was arrested 2016 after police say that she was dancing in front of a vehicle and yelling at the driver before yanking off the windshield wiper and attacking officers.
Wow, was that me? Sounds like a thing I would do.
I feel like we
Dancing in the street.
No, and
Another
ironically,
merchandising opportunity here to put that on a shirt.
Yes.
the woman's name, Raina.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not even joking.
I call bullshit. There's no way.
It's happened in Florida. Come on,
that
sort
makes
of
sense.
happens
Everything
all the
happens
time
in Florida.
I could have guessed that.
Now, I did find several instances of death caused by windshield washer fluid.
Oh, sure.
Ooh.
People probably drink it, right?
That was like the
Yes.
Tide Pod before the Tide Pod.
Right. I found instances, I think people did it on purpose. I'm not sure. That's not really clarified. I found one such instance where a company, Brewers Retail Inc., the company that owns, that runs the quote, beer store, has been fined $175,000 in the workplace death of a man who drank windshield washer fluid mislabeled as vodka.
Oh,
Wow. What a way to go.
But
That'll
here's
happen.
the thing. The man was an employee. He was hired to wash delivery trucks. Him and
drink
another
vodka.
coworker found they found the liquor bottle filled with the blue liquid with the vodka label still attached. They both drank from the bottle. Then he took it home and finished the bottle.
how
What
did they get
a
that far in?
champion.
It's got to taste different, right?
He later died of methanol poisoning.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's methanol in windshield washer fluid.
You know, I think this is a funny science tidbit, but I think one of the ways to cure methanol poisoning is actually drinking ethanol, like regular alcohol.
Oh, wow.
That is funny. So if he had just happened to have real
Actual
vodka on hand,
vodka.
he might have been okay.
Yeah, it might have neutralized it a
Yeah.
little.
Suddenly I'm so glad I'm not a vodka drinker.
Suddenly, I'm so glad I'm not a windshield washer drinker.
So in my research, I found a lot of stories about people. That's not the only one. People accidentally drinking windshield washer fluid. And I stumbled upon a couple stories mixed in with stories of other people accidentally drinking other poisonous liquids, thinking that they were other things. And it came to me that we could play a game of two truths and a lie.
Oh gosh. All right.
So I have 3 stories here I'm going to tell you. Stories of people accidentally drinking a poison. In some cases there's death. In some cases there isn't.
This sounds like a really
Sure.
fun game.
And I need you guys are going to try to pick out the lie. Okay?
This is better than like if you just had us prepare a couple drinks and you were like, taste some of these. Some of them are poison.
One of these cocktails has windshield washer fluid. All right, so story number 1. In July of 2015, a young man in Chicago was admitted to the hospital after accidentally ingesting window cleaner from an improperly marked container on the bar at the home of one of his friends, according to the Associated Press. The teen suffered from burns of the throat and esophagus. The cleaning substance was potent enough to have caused stomach bleeding and convulsions had he consumed more than a small amount.
All right.
Okay.
That sounds feasible.
That is story number 1. Story number 2. In the summer of 2008, an attractive-looking brand of tiki lamp oil ended up poisoning people across the United States. New Jersey officials issued a warning after 6 people drank the oil, mistaking the jug-sized container of yellow liquid for apple juice, according to the Associated Press.
Oh, God.
One elderly woman died, and an 8-year-old child suffered permanent lung damage from consuming the toxic fuel. Poison Control Centers at the time did a national survey and found 70 people had been poisoned by the fuel apple juice lookalike.
I was kind of wondering how they did that survey, if they just called a bunch of houses and they're like, have you been drinking your tiki fuel?
Okay.
And story number 3. In the March of 2009, the owner of a small daycare center in Little Rock, Arkansas, pulled out a plastic container of electric blue liquid and filled the cups of 10 children at her facility. It only took a couple of sips before the kids realized the Kool-Aid was not Kool-Aid. But an ounce of the windshield wiper fluid was enough to send the kids to a nearby hospital. The children admitted to the hospital had measurable amounts of methanol, which can cause blindness, comas, or as we have come to find, death.
Ooh.
Wow.
So one of these is not true.
One of those is a made-up story.
Okay.
What are you guys thinking?
I think the first 2 are true and the last one is a lie.
That's kind of what I'm hoping, because that just sounds so bad. like the daycare teacher.
Yeah, I'm like real confident the first one is true, but I don't know about the other 2. I feel like the third story didn't have like facts and figures like the other ones did, but that could be Jason's ploy to confuse me. So I'm really
sure. I think I agree. I think I agree with Hannah, and we're gonna go with the third one is a lie.
All right, the actual lie. July of 2015, man in Chicago with window cleaner on the bar.
No!
Oh. Yeah, I made that up.
The one I was so sure about.
I was going to say, I should have known you wouldn't have lied about children death on the show. Kind of a recurring
Not when there's
theme.
already been so much of it.
No.
Right.
None of the children died, actually.
Right.
In that incident. The teacher did lose her job.
That makes sense.
That was a good call.
I thought, in light of the game, and as Hannah, as you mentioned, people are eating Tide Pods nowadays, I would just throw the poison control hotline out there.
Yeah, go ahead and do it.
1-800-222-1222.
All right.
So if you happen to be listening to this and you recently consumed something poisonous, that's the number to call.
There you go.
And with that, that's going to conclude today's episode of That Just Might Work. Want to remind you that you can follow us on all of our social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram. It's at That Just Might Work. On Twitter, it's at TJMW Podcast. Tyler Womack has our handle as of the moment. And you can send your feedback to feedback@thatjustmightworkpodcast.com. Hannah, we want to thank you for joining us on this episode.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Do you feel somewhat enlightened, or was this just a total waste of your time?
There was like a lot of illuminating facts about windshield wiper history, and I don't think I'll ever forget Oishi's ghost haunting Jesse outside his window.
I feel like I'm going to show up at work on Monday and just see Hannah's car with bedazzled windshield wipers.
You know I'm headed to Michael's as soon as we stop recording.
Yeah.
You need to just fashion like a styrofoam middle finger and just stick it on top of her windshield wipers.
Let the outside reflect the inside.
Yes, that will conclude today's episode of That Just Might Work. Join us next week. You never know, we might be talking about your favorite everyday object.
Thanks for listening.